Hey yo, what is up? T26E5 Patriot. This is the first time I'm actually playing this tank. I have never owned this tank in the past because I knew it was kind of good, but it was never like a bully on the playing field. But today, this tank has been buffed, and that's why I want to check it out and see it for you guys and give you an honest opinion on what I think about it. I played a couple of games in it. Actually, I played 5, but check it out, man. This tank is new. The ELC is coming through. I'm gonna snipe him through the bushes and through some rubble, and I made that shot, and that was like kind of amazing for me. But anyway, if you take a look at the stats, the speed buffed from 40 kilometers an hour to 45 kilometers an hour, and 15 kilometers an hour to 17 kilometers an hour in reverse. The dispersion as well improved from 0.38 to 0.35. This makes it a much more competitive gun that you can shoot more often on the move, take those 50-50 chances. Aim time reduced 0.2 seconds as well, from 2.21 seconds to 2.01 seconds. It's pretty good. Hull traverse, yeah, I forgot to mention, hull traverse increased from 30 degrees to 35 degrees. This tank of course also sports full APCR shells even on the stock shells, so you're getting 1021 meters per second shell velocity even on the stock APCR shells. Premium shells also APCR, of course higher penetration on premium shells, but you can see what is going on here. They have made this tank a lot more desirable, and I have to say my first impression on this tank was, dude, this is like pretty good. This is actually not my first game in the tank, it's actually my second game in the tank, and I'm just showing you like what this tank is capable of. You can just bulldoze your way through if you're not coming up against a BZ 176 or a T56 or a 703 version 2. Everything else you can literally just eat up. I was trying to snipe this guy's cupola here, but I've been out of practice for a little bit, so my timing was a bit off. I made 3 shots and I missed all of them miserably, but this game was going to end pretty quickly, and I was partially responsible for that because I am being as aggressive as I possibly could, and I felt like I could be aggressive in a tank like this, if that's if that makes sense to you. Like I told you before, I never owned this tank. I might have played it once or twice for reviews, but I never owned this tank in my own garage. I never wanted to own this tank, even though I know it was not a bad tank. Even at the time when it came out in, was it 2015, 2016? I'm not sure. When it first came out, it was already a pretty good tank. It was like, it was famous for being able to farm credits on it. You could do well in it. It was a pretty good premium tank for grinding credits. It was a lot of people's go-to tank. Like, it wasn't exactly a favorite tank for anybody in particular, but it was known as a reliably good tank and totally usable tank even before it was buffed. But I think over the years, coming up to 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, this tank has been kind of overshadowed by all the new tanks out there, premium tanks that have been a little bit more desirable than this one in my opinion. And now with the latest buffs, it just makes sense. If you are a free-to-play player and you have some bonds stashed, this is a good pickup tank. This is what you want to pick up to spend your bonds on, to get a credit grinder. You can totally fire stock shells with this. It is already APCR shells with stock ammunition, so you don't need to spend a lot to make your shots hit because they're APCR, they travel quickly, you hit your shots more often. The only downside is maybe the penetration is not as high as a premium shell penetration, but still you're gonna do really well with this tank. This is my second game, got the highest XP in this game, blocked 2000 in a tier 8. I mean, granted this is a tier 8 game, but blocked 2000 damage and still had some HP left to spare. This game is my last game in it. This one is in Malinovka, and this is not a particularly great game for me. This is not like a top damage or top XP game, but I had fun in this game and I want to show you why. This is a definitely losing game for our team. Why? If you take a look at the setup, we do not have an ELC even 90, and the ELC even has already spotted me as I was getting into this position. I wanted to get to this position as early as possible to try to spot that ELC even. I was hoping to get into a bush and then wait for that ELC even to come, and then I would try to take him out early, but I couldn't even get there. I thought we could, just because of that speed buff. I thought that with that 40 kilometers an hour I could be kind of like a medium tank and get into this early position, but I couldn't, and now I am totally useless here because as soon as I pop up I'm gonna be spotted by that ELC, and then his teammates are just going to farm me for free. So I just decided to vacate this position and try to help out the north if it wasn't too late. Again, I'm spotted again. I'm not sure which bush he's in. I was thinking that he was in the usual middle bush, but I was having my doubts. I'm not sure exactly where that ELC even is. Really sneaky ELC events. He could totally dominate the field or the open field or the south position of this map. If my team was overly aggressive, I think we could have easily lost the south of the map very quickly. So now what am I doing? Remember, I have this 5 kilometers an hour more top speed, so I'm trying to use that top speed to make my way to the top of the hill and try to help my team out there. What I have in mind is join my team, see if we can overmatch the north position, the windmill position. If we can overmatch the north position before we completely capitulate in the south. Now we cannot win in the south. We just lost our light tank. The LT432 is already dead. And he's dead simply because he cannot outspot that ELC even. ELC even just has too much of a OP camouflage. So what is going to happen here, as long as my team in the south does not throw the game, they do not be completely frustrated, rush forward, get spotted by the ELC and die, I feel like we could possibly win the north. Now I don't know for sure if we can win the north. In fact, we are outnumbered in the north. They have 5 versus 4. We were down 2,000 hit points at one point. We are right now down 1,850 hit points, which doesn't bode too well for us as a team. But I feel like if the situation right now continues at this speed, if it is a slow game, I feel I can exert some influence here because we are heavy tanks. We can hold this position. They can't just completely rush us out. In fact, they're going to try, but I'm going to scare them off here. Unfortunate that I couldn't finish off that CIS or CS52, but I am trying to support my Object 252U here because he is being inundated, and they're trying to flank him basically. Now I'm trying to get this Vipera to focus on the top instead of trying to help out here. I'm just going to support the Object 252U here. I'm going to stop them from pushing over and completely obliterating our Object 252U, but I need our Vipera to to keep the high ground and keep the enemy Vipera off the high ground. As you can see, the enemy Vipera is staring down at us. In fact, he got a shot off at me, and I want this Vipera on my team to be keeping the enemy Vipera off my back. I don't want him to peek over, so I'm trying to ask him for help. I'm pointing to the position where I think he should be, using his turret armor to maybe, maybe he can't fight off the enemy Vipera and the enemy team, but he will hold this position and completely deter the enemy from pushing over and finishing me off, while I try to support my Object 252U here. So this is the message that I was trying to convey to my own team, and fortunately or not, I don't know whether he listened or he paid attention to me pinging on the map, but he is taking that position that I want him to be in. Sometimes he is, sometimes he's not. He's still trying to support the Object 252U here. The only problem is, I'm afraid that if the two of us are looking over on this side trying to help our 252, and then what happens is exactly what you see the enemy Vipera doing. He poked over and he shot our Vipera, and then he shot me again, and this is kind of upsetting. And this is the position where I want our Vipera to be, where he can be most effective blocking off the enemy Vipera, and while I try to hold off the KV4. The KV4 here is highly armored, but I can snipe the cupola, which is pretty easy. For some reason my intuition switched to HE shells, and at this point I didn't know we had HE shells. I'm trying to snipe the KV4 cupola again, and then I was wondering why am I doing 17 damage, and then I looked, I've got HE shells on. I think it must be the intuition that did it automatically. I switched back to the APCR, and now I am waiting, trying to hold this position here. And good job that the Progetto 46 has joined us, so I'm gonna ask for the Progetto 46 to support me. Looks like he's already gone forward to a bush, so I'm gonna go forward and try to take the rock position, and I'm gonna ask the Progetto 46 to help. At the moment I've only done 1700 damage, but I am really enjoying this game so far. Why? Because it's longer than 5 minutes. 1, 2, because we have some kind of teamwork going on here. We're kind of holding off the enemies. I kind of switched flanks. The team in the south did not completely throw their tanks and get spotted by the ELC and died. It's buying us time to attempt to win the north, and we are doing that successfully. We came down from a 2-tank deficit with 2000 hit points in the hole, and we pulled it back, and now we're 3 tanks ahead with a 254 hit points lead. That looks pretty good for us. We don't have a lot of hit points, but we do have 3 tanks more than them, and we are chipping away at their hit points as we speak, so that's pretty good. And you know, I'm not doing a lot of damage. I only done 1800 damage, but this is the kind of game I'm enjoying. I don't need to do 7000 damage to be to feel fulfilled. I don't need to you know, have 6 kills you know, to feel satisfied. I don't need to be the hero of the game to have a fun game. And I hope that there are more games like this, not just for me but for everyone. Even if I was in the losing team, I would have felt like, you know, this is like kind of like a fair game, because everybody is having an opportunity to win this game. For example, the enemy team had an opportunity to win this game from the north. On the south, I feel like the enemy team, they're just pinned down as much as my team is pinned down. Their ELC even might be spotting out our entire team, but my entire team is not throwing away their hit points by losing patience and rushing forward. And you know, this is a fair game, and if I feel like if I was on the winning side or if I was on the losing side, I felt that both teams gave it a fair shake, and I wouldn't have been happy that I lost if I was on a losing team, but I would have felt like, you know, this was kind of like a fair game. It was a fair shake. If I lost, it was down to my team losing it. It wasn't down to poor matchmaking, or it wasn't down to my team being idiots. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have felt bad if I had lost. And you know, in the beginning of the game, I had 100% expectations that my team would have lost just because I did not have an ELC on my team. And in a map like this, an ELC has that absolute advantage. So, you know, I wanted to show you this game, and this game turned out to be pretty good game, not because I did a lot of damage, not because I won with a Top Gun, but this was a fun game. I wanted to show you this game because it ended up being a fun game, hopefully not just for me, for the rest of my team. I hope it was a fun game for the enemy team, even though they lost. They did their best. They tried to win the top. Maybe their heavy tank that was camping in the base, this one here, this guy here, the BZ1, BZ76 or whatever, 176 or whatever, maybe he could have done a better job by being on the hill and helped his team. But other than that, it wasn't that bad of a game. I feel like this was a game that everybody could have had fun in. So I wanted to show you that, and I wanted to show you the new buffed Patriot T26E5. This is an absolutely go-to tank. If you have the bonds, get this tank. I was spamming all gold and I still made 68,000 credits on this tank. Not bad. I mean, I did get a 50,000 credit bonus because it was my first game or whatever, but yeah, pretty worthwhile tank to get if you only have bonds to spend. I hope you enjoyed this video and took something useful from it, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.